We should be live soon. My mic's all set up correctly. It should be, at least. Camera's on. Just a little bit. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to get the notification shortly. There's the notification. If you give me a second, I'll get to you guys so we can start the stream. Got to be careful of this microphone. I tripped over it the other day and dented the mic. It works. It's just bent. Let me check chat in a moment. But welcome, guys, to the Week 13 2K Universe stream. We have been through a lot this season. I just did the math now. We have been through 2,183 games this season. This is the 2,184th. We simmed a lot of them, but we were able to stream one game a week. I want to thank everyone for coming to the streams. I want to thank Danny for helping me set this up. We're not done yet, but we still have only a little longer to go. Let me get this stream up on my second device. Hello, Danny. Welcome. And we've seen every single conference race from the beginning of the season all the way whittling down to the final games this week. We got to see some great rivalry stories, if you can fill us in on those. But the last domino to fall is the MAC West, and that will be decided tonight. Number 18, Northern Illinois, is actually out of the race. Central Michigan won today. NIU's conference loss was to the Chippewas. So Central Michigan will get in if NIU wins. However, if NIU is to lose, then the team that they're playing gets in. That team is a currently unranked team who's been bubbling under for a couple weeks. That's Eastern Michigan. The Eastern Michigan Eagles are trying to make it to the title game for the first time, the MAC title game for the first time since 1999. We're going to get to the rosters here, starting with Northern Illinois, who lost a lot of seniors last year. Here, a very experienced team on the older side, so a lot of the big players fell. A lot of the big players have moved on. However, the one big corner piece on the NIU team that remains is quarterback Cameron Hansen, who's been putting up amazing stats. He's the leader of this team, the redshirt senior from Oak Park, Illinois, and he's our first player here. We'll move on to the running backs. Mike Lake, the senior from North Fort Myers. He was a backup on that team to the great Warren Hodgson, who is currently in the NFL playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Lake will be joined by Corey Harris, a senior from Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Tom Castillo, a sophomore from Burbank, Illinois. And Jamar Jacobs, a true freshman from Northbrook, Ohio. We'll move on here. Let me see if I can screw the mic a little more in place. There we go. Moving on to the fullback, Melvin Anderson, a true junior from Hanover Park, Illinois. The wideouts, John Harrison, a junior from Gainesville, Florida. David Ryan, a redshirt sophomore from Lansing, Illinois. Patrick Nelson, a redshirt junior from Mount Prospect, Illinois. JT Gorman, redshirt senior from Brookfield, Wisconsin. Marcus Johnson, the true freshman from Ferndale, Michigan. At tight end is Marlon Nugent, a redshirt junior from Fort Riley North, Kansas. On the line, the big name on the line is Kyle Whitlock, a red shirt junior from Buffalo Grove, Illinois. He's the left tackle. At left guard is a red shirt sophomore from Crystal Lake, Illinois, Fred King. I'll get to those headlines you're posting in chat in a moment, but the center, AJ McGrew, a redshirt sophomore from Florissant, Missouri. At right guard, redshirt senior from, Ashwaubenon, Wisconsin, Tyree Johnson. And at right tackle, wrapping up the offense, redshirt senior from New Haven, Indiana, Derek Patrick. Let's move on to the defensive side. Darnell Clark, a redshirt senior from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. He was a player on that 14-0 team last year. The right end is Brian Johnson, a true senior from Crestwood, Missouri. The defensive tackles, you have Andy Garrett, a true senior from Coral Gables, Florida. A redshirt senior from Elk Grove Village, Illinois, Jacob Wade. And Adam Lee, a redshirt junior from Rolla, Missouri. Moving on to Nate Hill, a redshirt junior from Palmetto Estates, Florida. He's your left outside linebacker. At middle linebacker is Ryan Hartman, a redshirt sophomore from Colby, Kansas. At right outside linebacker is Dante Lambert, a redshirt junior from Palatine, Illinois. In the secondary, cornerback Aaron Hill, a sophomore from Tillman's Corner, Alabama. Wesley Coleman, a redshirt senior from Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Charles Brown, Charlie for short, a senior from Melbourne, Florida. And Alex Anderson, a redshirt junior from Elk Grove Village, Illinois. At free safety, a true senior, Chris Taylor from Alexander City, Alabama. The strong safety, Dylan Jackson, a redshirt junior from Forest City, North Carolina. The kicker is Anton Keller, a senior from Liberty, Missouri. The punter is Trent Davis, a junior from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. There's your NIU side. Let's take a look at Eastern Michigan. NIU, the reigning MAC champions. Last year they beat Miami, Ohio. Eastern Michigan, as previously stated, they haven't won the MAC championship since 1999. The longest drought by a team who's actually played in the conference championship game for the MAC. That 99 season, Eastern Michigan beat Ohio. Start with their quarterback, Pat Johnson, a redshirt junior from Champaign, Illinois. Halfback, Brian Clemens, a junior from East Detroit, Michigan. The fullback from Bay City, Michigan, Michael Patterson. I'll head back to see some other fullbacks as well. You have Chris Thompson, a senior from Edgewater, Florida. Daryl Sims, a freshman from Northview, Michigan. On the wide receiving core, Steve Caldwell, a senior from Davie, Florida. Ben Rivers, a junior from Elgin, Illinois. Tony Clark, a sophomore from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Tim Jones, a redshirt sophomore from Bonita Springs, Florida. Ronnie Hines, a true sophomore from Lancaster, Ohio. And Tyrone Holland, a true sophomore from Winter Garden, Florida. At tight end, you have TJ Harris, a junior from Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Left tackle on the offensive line, Ed Smith, redshirt junior from Mason, Michigan. At left guard from Gainesville, the redshirt junior Gabriel Williams. At center, Joey Jones, a redshirt senior from Roseville, Michigan. The right guard from Depew, New York, redshirt junior Dwayne Price. And at right tackle, wrapping up the offense, Pete Barrett, a redshirt junior from Gering, Nebraska. And he is Nebraska. I don't remember. Yeah, it is. Steve Palmer, the left end from Sunset, Florida, a redshirt sophomore, starts our defensive side. At right end, a redshirt senior from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Thomas Martin. At defensive tackle, all the way from Chinle, Arizona, a true junior, Kevin Covington. Joined along with Green Valley, Arizona's Brad McGee, and Michael Lewis from Warren, Ohio, a true sophomore. At left outside linebacker from Yorba Linda, California. A lot of people from the Southwest, actually, on this Eastern Michigan defense. You have Brian Marshall, a redshirt senior. Middle linebacker, Kenny Burnett, a freshman from East Liverpool, Ohio. These are middle linebacker. Michael Johnson, a redshirt senior, a redshirt junior, all the way from Pearl City, Hawaii, is the right outside linebacker. On the secondary, you have Gamara Richardson, a freshman from Detroit, Michigan. Bruce Carr, a junior from North Chicago, Illinois. Tony Griffin, a sophomore from Dearborn Heights, Michigan. Jacob Barnes, a senior from Washington, D.C. And Tony Sullivan, a redshirt sophomore from Boardman, Ohio. A lot of big city guys here. Kyle Patterson is the junior from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Your free safety. At strong safety, Brian Concepcion, a junior from Cahokia, Illinois. The kicker is Mark Reed, a true sophomore from Auburn Hills, Michigan. The punter is Antoine Roos, a senior from Charlotte, Michigan. And there are your rosters. Throughout the match, I'm going to be reading these updates that Danny has provided about each of the conference championship races. We have a lot of races that ended up coming down to the last week. This one being the most interesting is a three-way race. Northern Illinois was eliminated, as previously stated. I actually need to go for a second. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. I already mentioned Central Michigan is the other team in this race. They're not playing. They already played their game earlier today. If Danny, if you can provide me who they beat, that'd be great. The edge overall is going to the Huskies. Defensively, they have the edge. The offensive edge goes just slightly to EMU. We may as well get festive. We'll go with this look for NIU. Central Michigan beat Western Michigan to clinch their spot here. So now it's up for the Eagles to finish the job. Oh, I need to. I'm feeling it. We're late enough. We'll take a look at some of the races that Danny's mentioned. The ACC is all set up. North Carolina clinched it this week. They'll be taking on Virginia Tech in a battle of 11-1 programs. The Big East was decided a week or two ago. That means the UConn Huskies will be taking on Temple. The Big Ten came down to the wire. Michigan was stunningly upset by the Buckeyes of Ohio State. That means Michigan State, thanks to Notre Dame's loss to USC as well, Michigan State slides in as the Legends Division representative. They'll be taking on the undefeated Illinois Fighting Illini. The Big 12 number 1 Oklahoma State rolled on in. Colorado was the team to clinch it this week. They won their game against Texas Tech. Kansas lost to Kansas State, which is what put the Buffaloes in Arlington. The Conference USA was decided on Friday was decided through the weekend thanks to a big win by Central Florida. They beat South Florida in the War on I-4 to clinch the Conference USA East. The West went to Memphis thanks to Houston being upset by Rice. The Ivy League doesn't have a title game, but it was decided before. Columbia won the Ivy League. Dartmouth placed second thanks to Brown losing. Both of those teams are given bowl berths. The MAC was already decided on the East Division. Ohio will be awaiting either Eastern or Central Michigan after the result of this game. Northern Iowa and North Dakota State have already clinched their spots in St. Louis for the Missouri Valley Conference Championship. The Mountain West was clinched as well. Wyoming will be taking on the number 2 Boise State Broncos. In the Pac-10, USC had clinched it with the win over Stanford. Thanks to losses by Oregon and Washington, Stanford is into the conference championship game to take on USC in a rematch of a rivalry. The SEC, Georgia Tech, officially sealed the division thanks to their win over Georgia. LSU, even in spite of being upset by Tulane this week, they're into the conference championship game. The SoCon was decided thanks to William and Mary. Actually, neither of them. As we mentioned on 2K Weekly, Western Carolina slipped into first place, unclinching Georgia Southern thanks to Gasso's loss to William and Mary. William and Mary already punched their ticket in. App State ended up putting a shellacking on the Catamounts, which slipped Georgia Southern back into the division lead, and the Eagles and the Tribe are heading to Nashville for the conference championship. In the Southland, Southeastern Louisiana, a 7-5 team beat all the odds to manage to get into the conference championship game for the Southland. They'll be taking on they'll be playing the proverbial David against the Goliath. That is Stephen F. Austin, who is undefeated, capped off with a win in Houston over rival Sam Houston State. In the Sun Belt, we already knew this matchup a few weeks prior. This was the first conference title game to be clinched. Coastal Carolina will be taking on North Texas in New Orleans. As the WAC ended with a very very shocking finish. In Nevada slipping into the conference championship game. In New Mexico State losing. Both New Mexico State and Nevada lost this week. Nevada losing to rival UNLV, New Mexico State losing to rival UTEP. And because of New Mexico State's second loss, that means Idaho slips in as the WAC Mountain. They will be heading to San Antonio to take on the Nevada Wolfpack in the conference championship game. Now let's get into this game. We've played over 2,000 this season. Without further ado, let's get to the final one of the last regular season games of the year. In the snow, EMU busting out the all-white to take on Northern Illinois. This is very much a David versus Goliath matchup as well. I forgot to introduce the coaches for both of these teams. Thankfully, I wrote them down. As we are here in Ypsilanti, just southeast of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Eastern Michigan's head coach, Johnny Houston. This is his second year here. He joined the program in 2021 from Ferris State University. Tyrone Walker, this is his 6th year as the coach of NIU. He's the reigning 2021 Coach of the Year after his 14-0 campaign. As we are underway from Ypsilanti, Michigan. A good return to the 25. This is a do-or-die conference game in the MAC. As Danny provided, Northern Illinois is the first in... Oh, that was almost... That was a deflection by the defender. Northern Illinois is the number one team in the conference in offense. Eastern Michigan is fourth. NIU has the number one defense. Eastern Michigan has the second best defense. That is Ryan Clemens with his first rush play of the game. It's going to be 3rd and 8 out the gate for Eastern. Plenty of time to throw it. He'll heave this one deep. Up there, bobbled, incomplete. That'll be a 3-and-out. Aaron Hill credited with the deflection, and they'll send out the punt unit. And the punt is away. Gunn will take it from the 25 to the 30. He's got blockers to about the 42. As here's Cameron Hansen, multiple award nominee. A lot of people thought he was over. A lot of people overlooked him thanks to the Heisman Trophy efforts of Warren Hodgson. However, Hansen was a huge part of this championship team. A huge part of that 14-0 team. John Harrison gets the first catch of the day. No gain. 2nd and 10 coming up. Then we're going to watch tomorrow's 2K Weekly. And the quarterback will keep it. He's still going down to the 40. Big gain for Cameron Hansen, the redshirt senior. Hand off to the back. Mike Lake will get 11 yards. A lot of big upsets. I wouldn't be surprised to see certain teams slip in to the top 25 next week, or tomorrow night, rather. We have a lot. Just because the regular season is over doesn't mean we have nothing to talk about afterwards. Don't forget, we have a lot to talk about in the coming 2K Weeklies. We'll be showing off in-depth matchups between the two. We'll show some in-depth matchups for both of the teams in the conference championship game. There's a throw out of bounds, and the drive stalls for Northern Illinois. They'll try a field goal in the snow. This one from about 47, and it's good. And we're away. Taken from the 1. They'll run it to about the 28. Only 2 yards of offense allowed for NIU on that last drive. I see the head coach talking up the NIU defense. Here's the quarterback. He'll just throw this one out of bounds. Pat Johnson, 0 for 3 so far. The big strength of this Eastern team is its very good offensive line. Quarterback keeper, he's got room to run. Oh, what a hit. He'll be just short. Completely lit up. That's number 45 on the NIU defense. Eastern did not convert their last 3rd down. Ball at about the 38-yard line. Option play. Can he get around the corner? No, he cannot. Brian Clemens will lose 2, and there's another 3-and-out for Eastern Michigan. And the Eagles will have to punt again. Rouse will kick it away. Dunn is back to return. Take it from the 20 to the 25. He'll get to about the 27. Take a look at the overall. Take a look at the records here. As Hansen, play action, throwing. He's got a man. Oh, and he has to take a big split. Marlon Nugent on the play. That was a weird animation right there. Handoff up the middle. He's got room to run. Taking the 50 down to the 43-yard line. Eastern Michigan has not lost in conference this year. NIU's only loss came in conference. An 11-yard gain for Mike Lake. There's the run from the back. Mike Lake will get 7 on the play. Eastern Michigan does have a conference loss. Pardon me. They lost week 2 at Ohio. Their other loss was on the road to Texas State. And off to Lake. Got some room. He'll get a short gain to the 15-yard line. Eastern beat Central last week. So a win here would give them the division. Here's the run from Cameron Hansen. He'll get the first down, but it'll be just short of the end zone. Central Michigan's one loss in conference was to Eastern Michigan. They beat Western. They beat Northern Illinois 51-49 back in week 10. There's the handoff to the back. Touchdown, Northern Illinois. Corey Harris is the one who punches it in. Seven-play, 68-yard drive, and NIU is now going to be up 10-0 in Ypsilanti. NIU, of course, was on that historic win streak, which came to an end in week 10 at home against Central Michigan. 25-yard return from McBride. The NIU defense has been lights out so far. Northern Illinois wins. That puts Central Michigan in the conference championship game against Ohio. Looking, he'll throw. That's enough for the first down. Tony Clark with the catch. There's the handoff to the back, and he's going to get room to about midfield. Rolling left, he'll throw. Intercepted! The first turnover of the game. Pat Johnson threw the pick number 30 with the interception. And off to Lake. Only 3 yards on the play. Lake wearing Warren Hodgson's 3. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't use that number much longer. There's the Lake run. A 10-yard gain for Mike Lake. He's filled in adequately for NIU. There's There's the run, a yard gain for Lake. Going to be very weird to see a one-loss team not win their division. That will be what happens if they can't get it done. If NIU can't get it done here. No gain on the run. Kenny Burnett gets credited for the tackle. Third and 10. Hanson with time. He'll throw. Deflected by Bruce Carr. And they're going to punt it. 119 to 32, the total yards. Punts away, and this will bounce into the end zone for a touchback. 40 seconds to go in the first quarter. Look at that defensive stat. 32 yards, 3 average yards of play, and an interception. As you look last year, Eastern Michigan finished the year in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. They lost on a last-second touchdown to Appalachian State. Of course, Northern Illinois played in the Peach Bowl, and they they beat Rutgers to cap off a perfect season. Throwing, dropped it. Pat Johnson, 1 for 6 so far. A ghastly performance for the Eagles at home. You think you got to do better. There's a throw, and there's a good catch for a first down. Steve Caldwell with a 20-yard reception. There's a big offensive play when they really needed their first third down conversion of the day. 11 seconds to go in the first quarter. Will they be able to get a playoff? They will not. No, they will. Johnson throwing short. It's caught. He'll step out of bounds for a 6-yard gain. Tony Clark with the reception, and that will be the end of the first quarter. It's all Huskies so far. The number 18, NIU, up 10-0 in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Looking. Johnson will throw. Out of bounds. Pat Johnson, 3 for 9 through the air. 3rd and 4. Going short. That's enough for the first down. And he's still trucking his way to the 40. Ben Rivers. Looking over the bowl scores last year. Here's the keeper for Johnson. Flattened after an 8-yard gain. We have 2 bowls so far that we already lined up for, those being the Ivy League bids, of course. Columbia going to the Pinstripe Bowl and Dartmouth heading to the Garden State Bowl. Of course, we're going to reveal the bowl berths on the Week 15 edition of 2KU Weekly. There's a first down for Michael Patterson. Week 15, after the Army-Navy game, since there's only one game that week, we'll give you the updates there. Don't forget to stay tuned next Saturday. We're going to be trying something new, which I'll explain further. On later. There's the throw, the halfback. He's got blockers, but he steps out of bounds after a 7-yard gain. It's Brian Clemens. Conference Championship Week is shaping up to look fun already. Here's a throw. He's got a man inside the 5. Tony Clark, 17 yards. Now I want to try something new. We're going to be doing we're going to be doing a conference championship radio show. So we can get some more games shown off. I'll be doing several continuous live streams. As there's the run, touchdown, Eastern Michigan, Brian Clemens on the play. And they'll go within 3 with the PAT. It's up and good. As previously stated, I'll be trying several streams of 4 or 5 games each throughout Saturday. And I'll be streaming them via radio so I can test out some OBS layouts. Stay tuned here on the 2KU channel. I'll likely have a test stream at some time in the middle of the week. As there's a collarbone tackle after a 2-yard gain on Cameron Hansen. It's 10-7 NIU, 4:10 to go in the second quarter. Throwing on a screen, and that will go anywhere. Mike Lake for no gain. I'll probably be doing something similar for the Bulls as well. A 2-yard gain for Mike Lake. But that's not going to be enough, and they're going to have to punt it. Will this be what Eastern Michigan needs to try and take control of this game? A must-win game for the Eagles. And a must-win game for NIU if you're a Chippewa fan. That's how crazy competitive this conference has been. There's a throw over the middle, caught. First down, 21-yard gain for Steve Caldwell. The offense finally waking up here in the second quarter. The crazy thing is, there may be 3 10-win teams in this division. There certainly will be if there's one tonight, and it's an interception. Another turnover for NIU. Dylan Jackson with the interception. And this ball is going the other way. 3:07 to go in the second quarter. Yeah, these coaches look a lot more normal. When I was trying to edit them, all their lips were weird. I don't know what happened with that. But here's a short throw. Trying to shed a tackler, but only get around 1 2-yard gain for John Harrison. There's the handoff. Mike Lake with room to run to midfield, and he'll be pushed out at the EMU 49. They'll rule it right at midfield. Keeper for Lake. That's enough for the first down to the 39. I think the Southland East would probably deserve your scoring more. There's the handoff. 6-yard gain for Mike Lake. Southland East was a very competitive division. Southeastern Louisiana ended up being the victors thanks to some chaos outside of them. There's a first down for Cameron Hansen, pardon me. Not Mike Lake. Play action for Hansen. He'll throw this on the right side. Touchdown! Patrick Nelson with the grab. Northern Illinois, as a one-loss team, is not going to make their conference championship. To the 30-yard line, Terrell McBride. The Eagles down 10 with 2:09 in the second quarter. NIU gets the ball in the second half. Handoff keeper, that'll get about 7. Brian Clemens on the run. Timeout, Eastern Michigan, 2:01 to go. An effective 2-minute warning. Handoff, pushes through for the first. Looking, he'll throw. Got a man. Can't break the tackle. He'll be just short of the first down. Brian Clemens once again. It's 2nd and inches. Pardon me. Johnson. He'll throw to the sideline, incomplete. .50-50 on 3rd down today. Against NIU, you're going to need all the breaks you can get. Throwing this one, he's got a man. First down to the 25. There's a play for Clark. And the clock will run. Eastern Michigan, it's a tale of 2 quarters. They've been playing a lot better in the second than they have the first. But are they playing good enough? There's a throw. He's got a man. He's got it. Touchdown. Ronnie Hines, the number 1 wide receiver for Eastern Michigan, and he pulls it in. The PAT is up, and it's now a 3-point game, 17-14 with 1:05 to go in the second quarter. They might have left a bit too much time on the clock. Not a lot to show for on offense. For Cameron Hansen specifically, it's definitely been a rushing game first and foremost. Hansen with time, he'll run it himself, and he'll be brought down after a gain of 3. Clock is going to tick. 36 seconds to go. They might try to just run out as much clock as they can because they get the ball back after halftime. Going to the right side. It's caught, but he steps out of bounds. Nelson with 2 yards on the play. 3rd and 5. Handoff, Lake got room. First down. 11 first downs for NIU to Eastern Michigan's 9. Hanson backing up. He'll throw on a screen. Only 6 seconds on the clock. NIU will call a timeout. Concepcion got the tackle on the play. He's got his 7th of the game. This will be the last play of the half. He's going to heave this one deep. Bubbled, incomplete. That'll end the first quarter. 17-14. This game got a lot closer after one. That's halftime. As we'll take a look. As Danny mentioned in chat, only one team, as we'll look in the Missouri Valley, one team in the Missouri Valley East is bowl eligible. That's going to be Northern Iowa, who's 9-3. The Missouri Valley West holds most of the conference's bowl eligible teams. North Dakota State won the division. Wichita State 2nd, South Dakota 3rd. Missouri State and South Dakota State are both bowl eligible. Surprising. I'm surprised that Missouri State is bowl eligible. I wouldn't have thought that. We had a couple teams come close in the East. Illinois State, Southern Illinois, and Indiana State were all 1-1 off. We're getting ready for the second half here. Kicks taken to the 1. And I'll get a decent gain from that. A dog pile on that play. It's very interesting to look back at last year and see how much things have changed. This Northern Illinois team has a couple returning faces from that 2021 squad. However, it's mostly new. They got to balance the old and the new. What a stiff arm. Completely shedding the tackler is Cameron Hansen. That's right. He's in the running for a Davey O'Brien Award. Here's the handoff to Mike Lake. A 5-yard gain for the running back. Here's 2nd and 5 from about the 41. They're getting loud in Ypsilanti. There's going to be what happened? There's going to be a false start penalty or a delay of game penalty. And that'll push it back to 2nd and 10. I don't know what happened. Keeper for the quarterback. Just short of the first down. It'll be a 9-yard gain. Someone was frozen. Man, it's so cold that the defensive players are freezing. And there's a flag. There's a false start penalty on NIU. They're getting very loud in Ypsilanti. There is no team in Detroit. This is considered the Detroit team. As they're going to get loud here. There's a first down. David Orion getting lit up after the play. Brian Concepcion, my favorite name I've seen so far this year, as there's a catch for a 6-yard gain. JT Gorman with the reception. Once again, reminder to tune in tomorrow for our episode of 2KU Weekly. Kenny Burnett got the TFL. 3rd and 9 coming up for this Northern Illinois squad. Third and 9 for NIU. Throwing this one deep. Caught. Touchdown. No, just short. 42-yard reception. Inches away from the goal line. NIU trying to go up 2 scores. A run up the middle will do it. And they'll punch it in. Corey Harris, touchdown, Northern Illinois. And there's big celebration up in Mount Pleasant. As NIU goes up 10. Looking back on some classic 2KU Bulls from last year. Those are on the main Taipei Joy 101 channel if you want to watch those streams. Last season, I did some intervention on certain teams. This year, we're going to do simulation only. Here's a throw to the left of the quarterback. Ryan Clemens gets 8 yards on the play. Clemens has been the go-to guy for the Eastern Michigan offense tonight and all year. Option play. The keeper for the quarterback, Pat Johnson, gets 11 yards. Hand off. Clemens barrels his way through 3 defenders for the first. One of the best power backs in the MAC. Lake has the speed, but no one has the power of Brian Clemens. 3-yard gain for the aforementioned BC. Danny, while you're here, do you have any favorite games from last year's bowl games you want to share? Or any favorite stories of that sort? As there's a short throw. Once again, this one's got to Tony Clark. It'll be 3rd and 3. Oh, big run. 1st and 10, EMU. Chris Thompson this time was the running back. Danny mentions the 5 overtimes we had between Penn State and Texas A&M. That was an amazing game. My favorite, of course, as you might know, would be Dave's show, Boston College. Here's a throw by Pat Johnson. Intercepted. It's thrown into heavy coverage. And he'll get some good yardage out of the interception as well. Dylan Jackson with his 2nd interception of the game. We had a couple multi-overtime games in the Bulls. Fiesta Bowl, New Mexico State, and Utah. The Utes won in 3 OTs. A 3-yard gain from Mike Lake. I actually would recommend the game we had to boot up NCAA 13 for at the time between Idaho and Arkansas. The Vandals won. They had a Hail Mary. Then Arkansas had a Hail Mary, and then Idaho had another one. That game capped 25-21, the final installment of the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl. Keeper for the quarterback. Fumble the ball! And the offense will pick it up. Fred King will be credited. Wisconsin and Central Michigan went to double overtime in the Pizza Bowl. Illinois beat Florida in overtime. How about the two overtimes between Kentucky and Louisiana Tech? There was in the first overtime game, Illinois State beating Richmond. The good run, and he's still on his feet to the 30. Corey Harris with a 13-yard run as NIU trying to enter cruise control. Quarterback keeper, a 5-yard gain. Hansen once again. About a yard to gain for it. Looking, he'll throw. Caught. Not enough for the first down. But they're going to go for it. They're going to aggressive. 4th in inches inside EMU's territory at the 21-yard line. Option play. That's enough for the first. And maybe more. He's got blockers. Touchdown. Cameron Hansen puts it in. And that's a big play to make it the PAT to make it a 17-point game here in Ypsilanti. Terrell McBride gets 27 yards on the play. .110 yards through the air for Cameron Hansen today. Clemens will get 2 yards. As we may run out of time here in the third quarter, they will get a playoff. Pressure coming, he'll throw. A yard gain for Clemens. It'll be 3rd and 7 after the break. 31-14 after 3. On the screenplay, tripped up. Clemens will get 3, and they'll have to send out the punting unit on 4th and 4. No, they're going to go for it. This is make or break time. NIU has won the ball game if they didn't get the stop here. Throwing this one up. Caught. He's inbounds. First down, Eastern Michigan. And they convert on 4th down. Ooh, another bowl game I'd like to talk about last year. How about the Seattle Bowl? Wyoming beating Tulsa in the last minute. Of course, how about App State beating Michigan on a last-second touchdown in the Myrtle Beach Bowl? Here's a throw. Caught. That's enough for the first down. 5:24 to go, so you're going to have to hurry. He'll throw over the middle. Caught. That's Hines for the first down. Throwing short, caught over the shoulder, powering his way for the first down. This is Chris Thompson with a catch behind over the shoulder, no look, and he powers through a defender for the first. 4:50 to go. 17 points separate these teams. Here's a throw to the end zone. Did he keep his toes in? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Steve Caldwell. Of course, it'd be very tough to tell in all this snow. But yes, he did stay in bounds. And this will make it a 10-point game, where you're going to need to get very lucky to stay in this game. Good run for Harrison. Oh, he leaps and he gets hit in the air. Almost jumped over another player. You got to stop the run defense. That's been their struggle all day. Mike Lake will be a yard short. 4:29 to go. Keeper. There's a first down to midfield inside the 45, inside the 50 for NIU. Are they going to be able to put this game on ice? Handoff. Another first down from Mike Lake. EMU has all 3 timeouts, but there's 4:13 to go. They're going to go 5 wide. Throwing up. He's got a man. Caught. And another first down. John Harrison making the reception. Going 5 wide again. Throw up there. 4-yard gain. Quarterback keeper sheds a tackler, and that's enough for the first down. Handoff. A 3-yard gain for Corey Harris. And then NIU punch it in here. Here's the running back. Harris only a yard on the play. Third and goal, 3:10 to go. They're going to let the clock run under 2:40. They'll hand it off. Stuffed. A loss of 3 for Corey Harris, and they'll kick a field goal. And I was right this time. He made a 42-yarder earlier in the game. Can he make this? They'll be under 2 minutes after the field goal. To put them up 13, it's good. Under 2 minutes for Eastern to work with. Oh, and he gets flattened. Ben Rivers on the return. Pat Johnson's been having a tough day, but he's going to need to be playing the best football of his career if he wants to escape this game with a miracle. To try and stay in the game. Here's a throw to the sideline, caught, first down. Tony Clark on the reception. Johnson throwing over the middle to midfield. He's got a man. Tim Jones, first down. Tick, 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 tick. Gotta watch out for pressure. He'll throw. He's got a man. First down. Inside the 30. Brian Clemens. EMU's player of the day. Four receivers, one back. Throwing to the sideline. He did stay in. First down. Tony Clark once again. 2 touchdowns, 3 picks for Pat Johnson. Pressure, he'll throw short. Almost intercepted, but it is caught. Tyrone Holland on the play. EMU has all 3 timeouts. They're not going to take one. They want to go fast. 1 minute to go. Johnson, he's got a lane touchdown. TJ Harris, the tight end, gets in for a touchdown. But now it's decision time. First off, you have to make the PAT. They will try for it. But now is the time to see if they can get if they go for an onside kick or if they use their timeouts. I would think you got to go for the onside, and they will. We have not seen a converted onside kick this series, and we're not going to see one here. Patrick Nelson gets on top of it. .55 seconds. Eastern Michigan with all 3 timeouts. They're going to need a miraculous defensive stop in order to try and stay in this game and punch their ticket to Detroit. Central Michigan on pins and needles as well, as this will decide their season as well. And there's a first down. Timeout. Timeout Eastern Michigan. Handoff to Lake. Another timeout after the 3-yard gain. 48 seconds. A combined 847 yards so far. Timeout. He's short of the first. Third and inches. You're going to need a miracle. But there's the first down. The clock will run as Eastern punches it through. They'll take the knee. Eastern Michigan out, and Central Michigan is going to Detroit. They'll play the Ohio Bobcats for the MAC championship. NIU finishes with an 11-1 record. Cameron Hansen, your player of the game. And that puts Central Michigan into the MAC championship game. 34-28 the final. NIU finishes strong. A close game at the end, but it came down to Eastern's big weakness, stopping the run. And the Huskies ran all over. As we'll look at our game stats. First off, the scoring summary. Nearly a huge comeback for the Eagles. There was a fumble that almost went their way. We'll take a look at some stats here. 26 for 35. 3 TDs, 3 picks. 318 passing yards for Pat Johnson. For EMU, the rushing Brian Clemens was the standout. We'll see him next year. He's a junior. 47 yards of rushing. He was bigger on receiving. He did have a rushing touchdown, though. Pat Johnson himself had 29 rushing yards. On receiving, Tony Clark was the main guy. He had 8 catches, 104 yards. Receiving touchdowns went to Steve Caldwell, who had 47. Ronnie Hines had 47 yards. And TJ Harris, who had 5 yards of reception on the day. On defense, Brian Concepcion had 11 tackles, no sacks for Eastern Michigan's defense today. And no picks. The defense really wasn't a factor here for Eastern. That was the big problem. They couldn't get defensive stops when they needed them. Concepcion is a junior. We'll see him next year as well. NIU passing, Cameron Hansen, only 13 for 16. He was a bigger runner today. He had 128 yards and a touchdown. In terms of running, 185 yards for Mike Lake, the senior from North Fort Myers, and 117 for Cameron Hansen. Hansen had 1 touchdown on the ground. Corey Harris, the halfback from Oak Creek, he was a senior. He had 2. In receiving, you had John Harrison with 16 yards and 3 catches. The leader on yards was Patrick Nelson with 32. Actually, pardon me, the leader was JT Gorman with 46. Nelson had the 1 receiving touchdown for NIU. And in terms of defense, NIU showed up 4 players with 5 tackles: Chris Taylor, Dylan Jackson, Dante Lambert, and Wesley Coleman. 2 interceptions for Dylan Jackson and 1 for Aaron Hill. No sacks for NIU. A 28-yard interception return for Dylan Jackson as well. A big day for DJ. Anton Keller, you saw, kicked a 42-yarder earlier on in the game. As we'll move on here to our team stats. 34-28 the final score. 22-20 first downs. Total offense 447 to 407. Combined 954 yards. 47, 319, and 3 on the ground for NIU. 14 for 89 and 1 touchdown for Eastern. And NIU didn't throw the ball much, 13 for 16, but they did get a touchdown. EMU was 26 for 35, and they had 3 TDs through the air. 318 to 128 in terms of passing yards. 4 for 7 on third down. Eastern Michigan did not have a great time. Now, they did in Northern Illinois, though. They were 50-50 on third downs. Both teams converted a 4th down. In the red zone, NIU was only 75%. Meanwhile, EMU was 3 for 3, including all touchdowns. 3 turnovers, though, was the big problem for EMU. 3 picks, never something you want to have. In terms of total yards, 566 to 580. Eastern Michigan actually had the edge. EMU had the edge in passing in passing and in terms of total yards, but the rushing game was what gave NIU the win. And NIU did have control of TOP. As that will wrap up the stats here. We'll take a final glance at the overview, look at our players of the game. Pat Johnson had 3 carries, 29 yards. He was 26 for 35, 318 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I would have nominated Brian Clemens for offensive player. He gained a ton of yards. Cameron Hansen, the quarterback, 13 for 16, 128 yards, 15 carries, 117 yards, 2 total TDs, both on the ground. Dylan Jackson for NIU had 4 tackles, an assist tackle, and 2 picks. And Michael Johnson had 4 tackles and that forced fumble. If EMU picked that up, that would have been huge, and they could have capitalized and prevented the Huskies from scoring. NIU